What's up, everybody? Well, today I'm here to show you another vacuum that just joined my vacuum collection. This time it is something very unique. Here I present to you an Aerus, formerly known as Electrolux, Fresh Era upright vacuum. This is a very unique Aerus Electrolux upright. And this is quite an interesting design because this vacuum, believe it or not, was actually made by TTI. If anyone knows that name, TTI, that's actually the Chinese company that now owns big vacuum companies like, say, Hoover, Dirt Devil, Eureka, and Royal, and now they even own Oreck. So how they got into making this, well, Aerus that is, they contracted with Aerus. They contracted with TTI at the time to make a lightweight upright vacuum. And I do like that they went with this and not the Oreck design. Because when this came out, there was definitely a lot of upgrades that were on this machine, as well as the original version that was under Hoover. Because Hoover actually made one that was called the Clean Light, which had a totally different design hood, which was the same for the Royals, because they made one version as well. Then Aerus also made a version like that, only theirs was called the Light. And then they eventually went to this, which was very different in design from the others. But this has a lot of nice features that make it quite an upgrade from Oreck. And there are some parts where they kind of fell behind when it came to making this compared to an Oreck, because they mainly built this to be an Oreck competitor, because they were the pioneer for lightweight upright vacuums. But for now, let's go ahead and give a walkthrough of the machine. Right up here, you do have your 2-speed switch. One other thing that they definitely did to basically make it like an Oreck is give it 2 speeds, one for low speed and then high speed. And very simple rocker switch design. You have your low and high. This is honestly, to me, better than the Hoover version, because their off position was right in the middle. Then I want to say up is low, down is high. I'm not too entirely certain because I don't have experience with that kind of model. But I have seen pictures online, and that seems to be how their power switch is designed. I like this one a little bit better, with low and high. So, coming on down, you have your nice little Fresh Era logo on the outer bag, with allergen filtration. Let's go ahead and unzip the bag, which looks very large. That's because this houses this Royal Type B bag, believe it or not. These things do take Royal Type B bags. They are definitely a nice bag upgrade. I believe Hoover A bags will fit this. But from what my understanding, the A collars are not as big as the Royal B collars. As you see, here's the bag type B. You can get Royal bags for it, in which this is actually generic Royal B bag. And see, look at how large this fill tube is compared to an Oreck. It's, as you may know, the Orecks are slim and very long, which this one is very nice and big. So I do like that they put a large fill tube, so you don't have to risk. So you don't run the risk of clogs being at the fill tube end right there. Which I do like that nice little detail that they did. Another remark I have about this outer bag is the way it mounts. As you can see, it's held on by this little clamp, and that part I do see one room for failure, because eventually that'll lose its clamp over time. It'll just slide off eventually, because the Orex actually were held on by a little spring right there that hooks in from the bottom, which I kind of like that a little bit better. So down here you do have your Aerus logo right there, and nice little headlight right down here. This is an LED headlight, I would like to point that out. Which, another thing I do have about this particular style of cleaner head, what I do like about the Fresh Aerus compared to the others, is the design of the hood almost emulates the classic Aerus Lux upright vacuum. Back when the company used to be called Electrolux, and they made canisters and uprights with this unique L shape, which I really like that little detail for this. So now let's go ahead and put this thing on its back to show you the underside of the brush roll, which this is its own specific brush roll for this. This is actually made by CWP, or Cleveland Wood Products. And the bristles are very soft. So, just like an Oreck, it won't have super aggressive agitation, but because the bristles are soft, you don't have to worry about it damaging delicate area rugs, which is one thing I do like about that. But the only thing I have about this is the bristles are not nearly as dense as the Oreck, so for stuff like, say, sand pickup, I don't think this would do as good, but I do believe the performance of the motor is definitely something that makes up for that. And it's a really good brush roll design, in my opinion. It is a chevron, so it funnels everything into the center suction path. And you have your traditional edge cleaning brushes on the side, very similar to what an Oreck uses. And let's go ahead and tip this guy back up. Now we'll go ahead and show you the model number along the back here. It's model U162C. This has a 4-amp motor, which seems pretty small, but yeah, the Oreck XL Classics also used a 4-amp motor. But what makes this more powerful than the Oreck is the fan that's in it. This has a 7-bladed fan, which the old Orecks had just a 5-blade. So this one creates a lot more suction and airflow. And also the fill tube and fan chamber are a bit larger compared to the Oreck, so that's quite a plus. You don't have as much clogs with these as you do with the Orecks, which they usually jam right down here. And as you can see, it's by Aerus LLC from Dallas, Texas, and Aerus Canada by, I'm not too sure how to pronounce this, it's Mississauga, Ontario. If any Canadians watching this, please tell me if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I probably am not. But anyway, it is down here made in PRC. Unfortunately, I do have to say this. Unfortunately, made in PRC means made in China. Unfortunately, so that is the sad part. Yeah, it is Chinese made, but like I said, yeah, I do like Orecks because they're made in the US, but this has some improvements on the Oreck, so that kind of outweighs that. And eventually, by the time when TTI bought out Oreck and discontinued this design, they definitely had a little bit better luck because a lot of people trust Oreck, and they honestly don't even remember that these exist, which makes me believe that these style of vacuums are very underrated because these perform very good for what they are. And for now, let's go ahead and, well, first let's go ahead and show you the back. I really like this carry handle. As you can hold it vertically or horizontally. You could just lift it in the end instead of just having to hold it from the back here and then left like that. I find it more comfortable this way, so you can carry it, it's like, say, up the stairs. And there's obviously your main power plug connection that runs up into the main switch in the motor, and then the rest goes out through this cord on the back, which weirdly enough is colored orange. But another remark I have about this, the cord is not commercial grade. As you can tell by looking at it, it doesn't feel very commercial. You think just because the cord is orange, that automatically makes it commercial grade cord, but actually it's not. They just did this to match the color scheme of the cleaner with the orange outline across the hood, as well as the Aerus logo as well. They did this to match the color scheme, which is a shame because if only it were a commercial cord. As you can see, it's only got the 2-prong connector at the end, which eventually, when they did restyle this cleaner to have the black color scheme before this design was discontinued, they did the black cord on it. So it's pretty odd that it's got an orange cord that's not commercial grade. So, but now let's go ahead and plug this guy in. But the cord is pretty long. I think it's at least about 30 feet. And you can see the cord comes out right here in the middle. Another thing I do like, so you don't have to worry about it getting frayed anywhere. So now let's go ahead and release this back. You just step on either side to release it into its vacuuming position. Very, very similar to any lightweight vacuum of the time period. And now let's go ahead and turn this thing on and show you it running. First, we're going to start it off on low and then work it up to high speed. There's low, and here's high. Does run very quiet compared to some classic Orecks. I do like that. And I'm not too sure whether or not it's in the brush head design or if it's the bumper contacting my carpet, but it's sometimes not too easy to push and pull this thing. So now let's go ahead and just give you a run of it. Low and high. This thing runs very smooth. It's definitely a powerful machine. So much that it's sometimes hard to push and pull on the kind of carpet I have. But it's pretty good. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video on the Aerus Electrolux Fresh Era Upright. Be sure and stay tuned, and don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.